everyone, welcome back to Women's Yoga with JD. I'm so excited to be joining you for this practice as always, and this is going to be a sequence, or not really a sequence, but a movement practice for the follicular phase of the cycle, so the first 7 days or so after you completely stop bleeding, completely stop menstruation, and it's during the winter season. So internally, the winter season is associated with menstruation, and it's associated with our wise crone years. It's also associated with death. It's the season where nothing grows. There's a lot of darkness. There's a lot of stillness. We tend to be more internal and reflective. And for our bodies, and really for our whole beingness, this is a time to slow down, to be more gentle with ourselves. So a more yin, restorative type practice can be really beneficial throughout all the phases of our cycle during the winter season. So you'll notice that I'm layered up in cozy clothes. Go ahead and grab some of those things if you would feel better having them. If it would make you feel warm and cozy, that's the point. And we tend to lose a lot of heat out through the bottoms of our feet. So if you like to be barefoot like me, maybe you try wearing some nice wool socks during the winter season and see how that supports your body's heat and things like digestion and immunity. It's all connected. So if you start sliding and slipping on your mat, you can definitely take them off, but just give it a try. We're going to move more slowly today, like I said. So grab some props just so you can make yourself more comfortable and set your space. Make sure it feels nice and calm and tranquil, and join me on the mat. Okay, welcome back. So we kind of have this juxtaposition going on in the body because inner spring is like slowly coming back to life and peeking open and beginning to feel some warmth again through the body. And yet we're in the winter season, which is like dark and cold and stiff and contracted. So we're going to spend a lot of time just gently warming up the body and kind of bringing it back to life. So if you want to play some gentle music and diffuse some oils, that's great. I recommend sitting up on a blanket just to support the hips and the pelvis. And we're gently going to start with some hip rolls, so hip circles. And moving to the right, but you can start the opposite way if that feels better in your body today. Maybe you get some neck roll action in there. Not overdoing it, just subtle movements. Kind of lulling the nervous system into that rest and digest state. And then we'll switch directions. Saying hello to the hips, hello to the pelvis. Gently beginning to move and clear energy out. And build and restore as our hormones begin to rise once again. And coming to a still position, we're just going to walk the hands out in front of us and fold forward. Feel free to rest the forehead down on the earth beneath you. And if you need to bring the floor closer to you, feel free to bring a block or a pillow out in front of you so that the forehead has something to rest on. This is very calming and soothing to the mind. And taking a few deep breaths. Walking the hands back toward you. We're going to cross the legs the opposite way. So putting the other foot in front, or you can sit in easy cross-legged position like this. And then walking the hands back out in front of you. And folding. And anytime you feel a buildup of energy, just sighing it out through the mouth. Walking the hands back toward you. Good. And taking the legs open into a gentle wide-legged position. Inhaling the arms up and exhaling to the right. Opening through the side body. And you can slowly curve toward the leg and away from it. Just feeling into all the muscles, the joints, the tendons, the ligaments in that left hip. And then coming back up and leaning to the left. Staying still or gently rocking open and closed. Good. And coming back to seated. Bending the knees and coming into a butterfly position. So sitting up on a blanket can help open up the pelvis. If you'd like to place some blocks or blankets underneath the knees, go ahead and do that. What we're trying to do here in the winter season is build up our yin. So we really want to support the body. We don't want to overtax it in any way. So taking a position that allows your body to take a deep exhale. And once you feel settled and grounded and rooted in the lower body, begin to inhale and open the chest, maybe lifting the gaze, and exhale round. Inhaling, opening, extending, and exhaling, turning within. Continuing to move like this at a pace that feels good in your body. Good. One more cycle. And exhale. Coming back up to a neutral spine. I'm going to slide the blanket out from underneath me and come into a tabletop position, all fours. So if you'd like to put the blanket underneath your knees, go ahead and do that for some extra support. And then you can tuck the toes or tops of the feet flat. And we'll continue this down dog flow, cat-cow flow. Inhaling, opening, and exhaling, turning in. And really letting your body's wisdom take over here. So if you'd like to change up the breath and inhale when you're rounded and exhale when you arch open, you can try that. And if the body wants to move in some circular motions or figure eight patterns, allow that. So just some intuitive movement here that feels good in the body. Not letting yourself just check out and go on autopilot. Letting the body be deeply relaxed and the mind alert, focused. Good. And when that feels complete, bring the toes together, take the knees nice and wide, and settle into a child's pose. And as you rest here in child's pose, maybe you visualize a white healing light moving into the kidneys, supporting, nourishing, and warming the kidneys. This is where we store yin energy in the body. And the kidneys tend to be associated emotionally with fear. So we're slowing down, we're breathing deeply, and we're not pushing the body. Just honoring where it's at today and seeing how good we can make each pose feel. Good, and inhale, slowly rocking yourself back up to all fours. We're going to tuck the toes and begin to walk the feet toward the front of the mat. You can Keep the feet a little bit wider than hip widths apart, especially starting out today, and then bend the knees and let the stomach rest on the thighs and fold. Let the head hang. Maybe you shake the head, yes, no. And if it feels okay, you can grab opposite elbows. And they'll just help the upper body extend down. And here again, with each inhale, breathe into the kidneys. And then exhale, sighing it out, letting it go. Good. Placing the hands down on the mat again and then walking them to the shins. Inhaling, rolling halfway up, extending the spine out. And exhale, drawing in. Inhale, extending the spine. And exhale, fold. Inhale, extend. And exhale, fold. And hold here. Good. And then placing the hands, keeping the right toes, right foot planted. Step the left foot back behind you and slowly bring the knee down to the earth. Here again, if you want to pad the knee with a blanket or a pillow, go ahead. You can keep the toes tucked or top of the foot planted. And inhale, rise into a low lunge. We're just going to inhale here. You can let the hips really sink down. And maybe you lean to the right, opening up that left front hip. Inhale back to center, lean to the left. Good. Maybe you walk the hands to the inside of the right foot. And just come down a little bit further. So if your elbows, your forearms want to come down into the mat, that's perfectly fine. If not, that's also fine. Just finding what feels good in your body today and really honoring that. We're really honoring the slow warm that comes from holding poses a little bit longer. So stoking that inner fire. Good. And then walking the right foot back. Bringing the toes together, knees nice and wide, and coming into a child's pose. And taking a couple of breaths here. And each time you find yourself in child's pose, perhaps you continue to visualize that white healing light, beaming energy, healing energy down into the kidneys. Restoring strength, restoring the nervous system to wholeness, and just allowing a calm tranquility to wash through the body. Good, and then inhaling, looking forward, coming up onto all fours, tucking the toes and walking to a forward fold once again. Bending the knees. Inhale, come forward halfway, lengthen the spine. And exhale, fold over the thighs. Just hang out here for a breath or two. Good, and then placing the hands down, stepping the right foot back behind you now, coming down onto the knee. And inhaling, low lunge. Finding your footing, your foundation first, and then inhale, lengthen through the spine, and maybe you exhale, lean to the left. Inhaling, lengthening straight up, and exhale, lean to the right. Inhaling back to center and walking the hands to the inside of the left foot now. If you want to heel toe that left foot to the outer edge of the mat to create some more space for the hip, that's perfectly fine. Maybe you walk that right knee back a little bit. And begin to edge your way down into lizard lunge. You don't have to come fully into it like this. Feel free to use as many props as feels good for the pose. So maybe you're here, that's great. Maybe you want a block out in front of you for your forehead to calm the mind. Just trusting your intuition and being okay with experimenting. If something doesn't feel good, being willing to change it up. Good. Walking the hands back to the feet, setting the block aside. And beginning to walk that left foot back behind you. Taking the toes together, knees nice and wide, and extending back, child's pose. Breathing healing light, restorative light into the kidneys. Good, and then inhaling onto all fours, tucking the toes and walking yourself back to the front of the mat and gently folding forward. Hanging out here for a breath or two. Allowing the pressure, the connection between the thighs and the belly to really stimulate digestion, movement, flow, including in the pelvis. As you're ready, slowly rolling yourself up to a standing position. Good, and just taking a moment to let the energy move down into the feet, keeping a gentle bend in the knees. We're going to do a little bit of movement that really supports the immune system during this time of the year. So the first thing we're going to do is just kind of bounce on the balls of our feet. There's an acupressure point that is the kidney 1 point, and it's really supportive for the nervous system and for energy and vitality. So just keeping a gentle bend, you're just going to lift the heels up and down. And you're just bouncing a little bit. And if you'd like to turn from side to side, you can. Shaking the head. Maybe you close the eyes, don't worry about what it looks like. Just finding what feels good in the body right now. Good. And then gently coming to a still position with the feet. Walk them just a little bit wider than hips width apart. And we're going to move the arms like this. So actually we're just moving the hips, letting the arms be limp. And one is hitting at the front of the body, one is hitting on the back. Good. I believe this position is called knocking on the door of life. It's a move that's common in Qigong practices. And again, it just stimulates circulation through the body, brings some warmth in a gentle way without overtaxing the body. Good. And coming to stillness once again. So we're going to do a little acupressure massage on our body. So starting with the upper neck, just gently tapping. You can tap with the fingers, if that feels good, or with the knuckles, just not hard. Just tapping along the neck here, into the traps. Good, and then choosing one arm, I'm going to go down the left arm first. So you can start at the traps and just like karate chop. And then letting this right hand be really floppy. And just slapping down the outer arm, And then up the inner arm. I'll do that a couple times. One more. Good, and then tapping underneath the armpit and down the side of the body. Good, and then just shake that out. We'll do the other side. So karate chopping the trap, then slapping down the front of the arm with a floppy left hand, and then up the inside of the arm. 3 times. Try to let that right arm be loose, limp. Good, and then under the armpit, hitting with this side of the hand, so the inside of that pointer finger, right at the armpit, and then whole hand slaps down the side body. One more. Good. Now giving the kidneys some extra love, just tapping lightly at the kidneys here. Loving on the adrenals. And then into the sacrum. You can go a little bit harder at the sacrum. And the outer hips. Light at the kidneys and the adrenals. They don't need much. A little stronger at the sacrum if that feels good. Then we're going to slap down the backs of the legs and a little bit lighter up the inside of the legs 3 times. Good, and then just gently, right at the hip points, right on the inside of the hip points, tapping here. Just stimulating the pelvis and the womb space. Waking it up after its slumber. Probably didn't feel like slumber during menstruation. Good. And just check in. Notice how you feel. Maybe you place one hand over the heart space, one hand over the womb space. And notice how the body feels. If you feel like a subtle buzzing energy, that's the prana, that's the life force moving through you. Now we're going to set up for some restoration because that is the key during the winter months. Slow warming and lots of rest and nourishment. So I'm going to set up with the bolster underneath my knees. This is really supportive for the low back and offers a bit more support to that kidney area. And if you'd like a pillow for your head, go ahead and grab it. Blankets are really good during this time. Again, wool socks. Nice, warm, cozy clothing. And we're just going to rest back here. So finding something that feels super luxurious and nurturing. And then just settling in. Take my ponytail out. Getting nice and warm and cozy. And then we'll just begin to deeply relax the body from the crown of the head down to the toes. And feel free to listen to my instructions, my guidelines, or follow your own intuitive journey through your body. So feeling the back of the body settling into the earth, sinking into the earth, heavy, heavy, heavy. Letting everything go, all clinging, grasping, clutching, releasing it out. Visualizing a golden light that's warm and honey-like at the crown of your head. Feeling it warm the crown of the head and move down across the scalp in all directions. And as it does, it softens all the muscles, the fascia, softening the neck, softening behind the ears, letting the eye sockets be heavy, Cheekbones get heavy. Letting the jaw open and be soft and heavy. Letting the teeth part. And the tongue rest in the bottom of the mouth. And anytime you feel to, just sigh it out. Releasing old energy and welcoming in the new. Allowing the shoulder blades to soften. The shoulders to soften down away from the ears. The arms to soften and maybe they float open. Letting them rest into the earth. Letting the chest soften, the belly soften. Letting the lower back and the sacrum root down into the earth. No effort. Everything happening with ease. Allowing the pelvis to feel open and rooted, spacious yet anchored. And feeling this golden, warm, honey-like energy moving down, coursing down through the body. Assisting you, guiding you, and gathering up any old stagnant energy, patterns, beliefs, emotions, memories that are no longer serving your highest unfolding. Letting the hips soften down, the upper legs, front and back, soften, resting into the support beneath you. Allowing the knees to soften, to release any tension, any creakiness. Letting the calves soften and relax. The shins rest heavy. All the while this golden, honey, warm energy moving down through the body. Gathering up old energy, snowballing it down toward the feet. Ankles resting, tops and bottoms of the feet resting. Each toe relaxed. And you can begin to visualize this honey, golden energy moving out through the bottoms of the feet and down into the earth beneath you. Moving into the earth where it can gather new energy, transform into reusable energy. It can be used by all beings. And just resting in this golden healing presence. Listening. Sending your senses inward for any messages, any intuitive insights that are making their way to you right now. No need to force, to effort, to grasp. They're already making their way to you in just the right way. Your body store up reserves of this healing energy. And let's bring the palms together and begin to rub the palms pretty vigorously to create some heat, some buzzing between the palms. Take this energy in the palms and place it right on the belly, right over where the kidneys are in the back body. And just sending heat, warmth, nourishment to the kidneys. And you can feel free to stay here for as long as you like. Or if you feel ready, you can begin to extend the arms overhead and to stretch, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Rolling to your right side, slowly now. Slowly making your way up to a seated position. Slide the bolster out of the way. I'm going to keep the blanket. Coming into a cross-legged position that feels good in your body. Placing one hand over the heart space, one hand over the womb space. And gently bowing. Honoring your energy, honoring what transpired in this journey into yourself today. And resolving, committing to saying yes to this intuitive wisdom that's always trying to make itself known as you. Thank you so much for sharing your heart, your mind, your energy with me in this practice. If you have any questions for me, please comment below or reach out to me in the email in the description. If you have any questions or any requests for a practice, please send them my way. I'm sending you so much peace and ease in this winter season.